Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I hope that you're having an amazing week. So, I wanted to come on here to talk about how to turn your guilt into glam. Let's talk about how to tell people no. How to tell people no with confidence. So, why is it important to say no to people? It's important to say no to people to protect your peace, to protect your time, and your overall well being. And I talk to so many clients and even myself at times, you know, who have felt myself and other people who have felt like saying no is being mean. And I am sure that there are many of you that have been taught that. You're mean if you don't share. You're mean if you don't um, give someone a ride every time they ask, or if you don't loan people money every time they ask for money. Like, we are constantly being reinforced with messages that we have to give our all to be considered nice, to be considered kind, to be considered sweet. But what ends up happening is you get burned out and you'll start to feel used. You'll start to feel taken advantage of and taken for granted. Um, and so what I like to tell people is that, like, let's say for example, you're in a relationship. Well, let's say you're married. Let's say you're married and you're a mom, two kids, husband, but you feel like you do all the housework, all the cooking, all the cleaning. You feel like you go above and beyond for your family, but you don't feel like they are going as hard for you, like they're doing as much for you as you do for them. Well, you could look at that and you could say, they don't appreciate me. They're taking me for granted. They just want me to give, 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 give. But what you don't realize is that you have participated in a certain dynamic with them where you have created this tone, if you will, where you're going to be the giver and they're going to be the receivers. And so we think that if I just tell people, hey, give to me, look out for me as well, that that's enough. But I often tell clients, you need to change something in your dynamic in order for things to change in your relationships. And so, oftentimes, what I encourage people is to pour into themselves and to stop waiting for someone to do for them what they're not even doing for themselves. So, when you start to pour into yourself, love on yourself, give to yourself, then as a natural reaction, people learn to start to consider your needs as well because they see you doing it and you're showing them how to do it. So, this is why it's important to take care of yourself and say no. Okay. Let me pause really quick and just look at the comments. Okay, I see a lot of highs. Hi. I see Jesus loves you. Thank you. He loves you too. And let me see. Did I miss anything else? Hello. Hello. I hope that y'all are having a great day. And if you have any questions as I go, ask them, drop them in the chat, and I would love to answer them and to respond. Okay, so that's a little bit about, let me just, okay, Jesus really loves you. You're a wonderful person. Oh, thank you so much. He really loves you too. You're also a wonderful person. Okay, so this is how you can confidently say no. So let me get into the actual steps. So, one thing you can do, one thing that can help you say no, is to reframe or change the way that you see no. So, like I started off with saying, a lot of times we see no as being mean and being selfish, when in fact, Saying no is a way to build your self respect. So see it as you reinforcing the self respect that you want for yourself and that you have. Um, I can think of plenty of times, plenty of jobs where, I may have felt like, why is this boss always coming to me for stuff? As if there's no one else here that can do it. And I had to really stop and say, Chanel, because you keep saying yes. You don't say no at all. And people respect you when you respect yourself. So saying no is a way of saying, I have self respect. So that's one way that you can change your perspective of no. Another way is what I mentioned earlier when I said, excuse me, that it trains people how to treat you. Not just be based off of what they are doing to you, but it's also a way of saying, how I treat myself is how I want you to treat me. So, just a couple ways to reframe saying no to people. It's not being mean, it's really helping your relationship. Because if you feel like someone is taking you for granted, taking advantage of you, then a lot of the times you start to build resentment toward them. And you start to not want to be around them as much. And it can cause a lot of conflict and friction. Whereas if you would just let them know what your boundaries are, then they know how to properly love you. So reframe your view of no. Okay, the next step, celebrate small wins. So when you do say no, you know it's something you've been having a hard time doing, but you decided, I'm gonna tell my friend no. I'm gonna let her know I cannot loan you money this time. And it may feel uncomfortable. You may feel a little twinge on the inside. But once you say no, celebrate yourself. Do some sort of self care activity. Take a bubble bath, get your favorite drink, eat your favorite snack, something where it's like, okay, good job. Like you're patting yourself on the back for saying no. So this helps you reprogram your brain and it helps you associate positive feelings with saying no. So that's another step. Okay, another one is creating a yes to me ritual. So have a way to reinforce every time you're saying yes to you by saying no to someone else or setting a boundary, with someone else. You can journal it, keep track of it, think about how you feel and document how it felt to set that boundary. And this way, when you have to do it the next time and you need encouragement, you can look and see how you felt the last time you did it. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm excited. How you felt the last time you did it as a reminder that this is worth doing, that this brings positive results to you, to yourself. So, those are a few things that you can do to help you begin to say no. And let me just look at my notes because I don't want to miss anything. Um, and while I do that, if you have any questions, ask them and I will gladly answer them for you. Okay, so I gave you a couple of things of how to start to reinforce your no's. Now, I want to give you some practical steps, like some literal things you can do that is a way of saying no. But before I do that, let me just check the chats. Okay. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to teach people what we need to know. You deserve a lot, and I hope you live a great life. Oh, thank you. I love this. I really spend my days like counseling people, coaching people, working with people because I really want to see, people's life enhanced. And it's important for us to pour into ourselves in this way. So I'm glad I could be a part of that process. And jump on here and reach as many people as possible by sharing this information and something that I've had to learn for myself. I could think back to being in college, and I was one of the few people that had a car. So people were always calling me, like, even if I wasn't on campus, even if I planned to do something off campus that weekend, like stay with my family or whatever, people would call me and ask me for rides, and I felt like I had to say yes. And I would feel like depleted. I would feel like this sense of dread and like exhaustion and uh but I feel like it was a Christian thing to do. Consider other people before yourselves. And so I was constantly saying yes, but it was taking so much out of me. And that is your sign. If you feel that way, that is your sign that somewhere you're not setting boundaries with people and you're giving too much. Yes, we want to love on people, we want to give, but we want to give from a place of abundance and fullness, not from you feeling depleted and lacking. So I remember thinking, like, why does this person keep calling me for a ride? Not offering me gas money, not trying to hang out with me or anything like that, just simply asking me for a ride. And I had to really come to myself and drop into my body and really pay attention to how I was feeling. And eventually I started to learn, like, this is not okay. I'm being taken advantage of in this situation. Um, I'm not doing it cheerfully, so I'm not serving them and I'm not serving me. And now I don't want to answer their phone call like it's interfering with my relationship with this person. So let me start saying no. And that's what I did. And I want to tell you, when you tell people no, and if they respond with hostility, if they make you feel bad, if they try to like manipulate you into a yes, I would really pause and reevaluate that relationship, because you want to be in relationships with people that value your well being, that want to see you happy just as much as they want to see themselves happy. So if you tell somebody, hey, when you do this, it hurts me, and they disregard that, then ask yourself, do they really care about your happiness? And is that okay with you? Because there are people in this world that are takers and leeches and just want to suck all your energy. Like, that's just the reality. And you recognizing that is not you judging them or being mean. It's you just being honest about who they are, so that you can make an informed decision about what you want to do with that relationship. And it doesn't matter who it is, if it's family, friends, a childhood friend, it really doesn't matter. We're all people, we're all capable of, making mistakes and doing harmful things. So if you feel like someone is harming you and you try to address it and they're not receiving you, and this is like a pattern, you might want to take a step back. And it really doesn't matter who it's coming from. So I just wanted to say that, because I know that that's also a big conflict. Like, how is someone going to respond to me if I tell them no? And what do I do with that? My love, choose you. That's what you do with it. Okay, so let me give you some actual tips on like ways that you can say no. Okay, so when saying no, one thing I like to stress to people, and I make sure I do myself, is not to over explain. So when you tell someone no to something, you're not trying to justify your no. That's not your job. Your job is just to honestly communicate with them and let them know where you stand on the matter. So, let me give you an example. Let's say your friend is like, she wants to go to dinner, and that's not a bad thing, but you're tired, you don't feel like going, you plan on chilling at the house, just you or just you and your significant other, you don't want to go. Well, when you tell her you don't want to go, what people tend to do is they tend to say, hey, I can't make it. I'm so sorry. I had a really long day and I'm just so tired. And, I would go, but I just don't have the energy. Like they're going into all the reasons of why they're saying no. And it's like almost trying to create sympathy from the other person so that they'll understand why you're saying no. Well, that's not necessary. No is a complete sentence. So you don't have to give a lot of words. And I actually would encourage you to not give a lot, too many words, because people can then try to convince you to not say no. And not only has this happened to me, but I've been guilty of it as well. Like, I got to tell people, listen, just be direct because I need to know exactly what you're saying. So, less is more. Simply saying, hey, thank you so much for the invitation, but I'm not going to be able to make it. That is enough. You don't have to say why. You don't have to wait for them to agree that it's okay for you to say no. Just say, thank you for inviting me, but I'm unable to make it. Short and sweet. So that's one thing that I say to people. Let's say, for example, you want to be able to say you have other plans. You don't have to tell them what the plans are. The plans could be for you to sit on your couch with a mask on and watch you a good Christmas Hallmark movie. That is irrelevant, but if you set your mind to do something, that then you have formulated a plan. So you could also say, thank you for the invitation, because we're not going to be mean. We don't have to be mean. Thank you for the invitation, but I already have plans. And that's it. They'll need to know what the plans are, whatever. The conversation is over. Um, so that is one really practical way of how you can say no and set a boundary with people. Another thing you can do, okay, so let's say you are face to face with someone. And let me think. Let me think. I want to give y'all some stuff that I've done that if you want to do, you can. It's totally up to you. But okay, so I my job was having like a holiday party. Well, I would say my affiliate job or my affiliate job. I'll say it like that. I had a main boss, and then I had people that I was working with. They weren't necessarily my boss, but I was still a part of that community, if that makes sense. So, which I hope it makes sense. So that affiliate community was like, okay, let me back up. So basically I had worked a job where they placed me in a certain setting. So that setting, they're not my direct boss, but I work with them every day. Okay. So they were having a Christmas party. But we had to pay to go to that Christmas party. And I come from my experience is that, companies take care of that for you. So when I was told I had to pay to attend a Christmas party, that for me, that didn't sit well with me. I was uncomfortable with that idea. So I chose not to go. So I let some people know, like, hey, I won't be making it. And they were like, why? And I was called a Grinch, I was called a Scrooge or whatever. I was like, whatever, I'm not going. So rather than staying and sitting in that environment of people trying to make me feel bad for not wanting to go, I left. So that's another tip. Say what you have to say. You can hear their response, but don't stay long. Walk away. If you're on the phone and you need to end the conversation. You know, quickly get out of that setting, and that's how you can stand firm on what you have to say and not have people rebuttal you and try to guilt you into what they want you to do. So I'm not telling you to just hang up on people after you say no. But you can say like, okay, I'll give you another example. Let's say your sister wants you to watch your nephew, but you don't want to. Like you just don't, you're tired or whatever it is. your body did not say yes. You didn't feel settled. So on the phone, hey sis, I love John, but I'm not gonna be able to watch him this time. And if you know that your sister typically tries to talk you into it or guilt you into it, then quickly end that conversation. Okay, yeah, so I'm not able to make it, or I'm not able to watch John, but I love them, and whenever I can, the next time I can see y'all, I'll let you know. Okay, all right, I gotta go. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Okay, bye. And that's it. Like you ended that. Don't stay on the phone. Don't linger. So those are a couple ways that you can reinforce your no and get out of there really quick to help you overcome the guilt that you might feel from saying no. So let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so yeah, those are two practical tips that you can implement when saying no. And turn it into moments of celebration, turn it into moments of glam. Basically, turn it into moments of loving on yourself. It's not a bad thing. It's actually very loving to tell people no and to set boundaries, and it's just necessary. You're not a robot. You're not a robot. You're not meant to be a robot. You're human. We feel. That's what makes us relatable. That's what makes being in relationship with us so beautiful. So don't ignore your feelings and don't feel ashamed if you can't do something. Be honest about your capacity for yourself, for other people, and turn your guilt into glam. I love you all, my beautiful fam, my beautiful girls. I hope that you had an amazing day, that you enjoy this holiday season. I can imagine that there will be a lot of times where you're going to need to say no, not only to other people, but to yourself as well, because we try to push ourselves beyond what we can do. So just stop, pause, say no, and know that it's okay. Take this message, run with it, listen to it as often as you need to. Listen to other people that also talk about setting boundaries to help you to really change your perspective on it and turn your guilt into glam. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.